I'm Hilda Marie, Program Director at Vibrance, the Fellowship Initiative. The Fellowship Initiative is a program funded through JP Morgan Chase, and Vibrant was privileged in that we were chosen to partner with them in order to support the emotional wellness of the young men of color who participate in the program. The young men who attend the Fellowship Initiative are known as the Fellows, and currently they are in the third cohort of Fellows. The Fellows begin the program in their sophomore year of high school, and they receive academic and intensive mentoring support for the next 3 years until they graduate from high school, with the ultimate goal of entering the colleges of their choice. So far, TFI, the Fellowship Initiative, as we know it, TFI, has a 100% graduation rate. And today we're lucky enough to have some of the fellows from the second cohort, the graduating class of 2017, and they're here to share some thoughts on what's happening in the world today and how it impacts young men of color. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the College Fellows, the graduating class of 2017 Fellowship Initiative. So please start by telling us a little bit about who you are and how TFI has impacted your life.
Yeah, so my name is Roderick Hughes. I'm from the LA cohort, and TFI has really changed my life and really has helped me on my journey to really help my family out. Starting in middle school and elementary, the family home wasn't stable. I had drug and alcohol addicts who, it got too into the, drugs and alcohol, and it really failed for them to take care of me and my two younger siblings. So I had to step up at a younger age, around 12 to 13, really take care of them. And then a year later, I moved on around eighth grade. Moved to my grandparents' home, and that's where we still are today. And so, coming up in high school, I was introduced to TFI. I remember they called me into the principal office, and at first I was confused. I'm like, I didn't do nothing. Like, I'm taking care of business. Why am I getting sent to the office? And so here in this office, TFI, they offered me a position in the program, and they talked about the things that they aim to do. And so I got in. And so along that journey, I got exposed to college tours. We got to go on a free trip to South Africa, and they just helped every step of the way to get to college. So right now, I'm a rising senior at American University, computer science major. So I'm happy and ready to go.
Rod, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I have to say that it's a real testament to your resilience that at such a young age you could be supporting and raising your siblings and manage to get through all of those challenges and make it as far as you are today. So congratulations. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
Shamar, we'd love to hear from you.
All right, so my name is Shemar Clarke. I'm part of cohort 2 in the New York City cohort. TFI has been a huge impact on me because pretty much all throughout my life, elementary to middle to high, I didn't really have a lot of confidence. I felt like I always had some budding potential, like I was on the cusp of doing good things, like really great things, but I was never able to take the next step by myself. I just always did what was mediocre or just good enough. But when I went into high school, I got my parents, principals, a lot of teachers started to recommend TFI to me. And I figured if everybody's recommended it to me, it must be a pretty good program. So I applied for it. I got into the program, and it's been a really life-changing thing for me. It really helped me take that next step in my life to really start believing in myself. My confidence shot up a lot to really believe that I can do, whatever I set my mind to. And I started to walk in the rooms, and I felt like I belonged in them. So TFI really helped me, be comfortable in my own skin, belong in places. And the sense of brotherhood that I got throughout the program is something that I, truly appreciate, because I grew up pretty much an only child, and to have a lot of people around my age who all had similar goals to me really empowered me to feel like, I'm not doing this alone. We're doing it together. And it felt like a group experience that, I could never replace. So I really appreciate TFI, and it's had a really huge impact on me.
That's excellent, Shamar. And tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now with TFI or at TFI.
So now I'm in college and about to graduate. So I work with the current cohort of fellows that we have. I'm pretty much on site every session. I'm there mentoring the fellows. I do a bit of tutoring. If they need me to lead a session, I'll lead a session. I give a few speeches. I just really want to be there for the guys because when I was young, people saw potential in me, and I really see the potential in these guys. And any type of help that I could provide, any opportunity to give back, I'll do it because TFI really, it really helped jumpstart me, and I want to give the same opportunity to these young men.
Having met you in your sophomore year of high school and seeing your confidence rise and seeing you really step up into the challenges that you've been presented with has been a real journey for me as well. So I'm just totally impressed. I've seen you at work at TFI and you really work that room with such confidence. I'm very, very proud of you, Shamar. Thanks for joining us.
Thank
And
Hello, everyone. My name is Luke Delfeus. I'm from Queens, New York. I'm part of cohort 2 and the graduating class of 2017 from the NYC cohort. And right now I am a rising fourth-year student at New York City College of Technology. TFI has been super beneficial to me, and I'm grateful to them because they gave me a newfound sense of identity. Growing up, I was the middle child in my family, and I've always felt like an outcast, not only in my family but also as like the black sheep, and also in society. Um, in elementary school and middle school, I went to a Catholic school where I was one of like three African American kids within the classroom compared to the rest of the classroom being Caucasian, and I developed a sort of sense of anxiety and insecurity throughout my life, whether it was from being normally shy and antisocial, or whether it was uh, having a lack of love for my identity or even my skin color. I even compared to my lighter toned friends, I always used to think that my skin was dirty and like even ugly compared to them. I've always wondered, why was I born like this? Why couldn't I have fairer skin or even like longer hair compared to all of my friends and classmates within the room? And that even led to me getting bullied throughout my middle school to elementary school experience and my high school and my freshman year of high school. And I sort of like thought to myself like, I'm not I'm not anything special. I thought I wasn't worth anything. But when TFI was brought into my life with the push of encouragement from my mother, I applied reluctantly, thinking I wasn't even gonna get in because I didn't think much of myself then. But successfully and that thank all good things that I got in. I got to experience such a wonderful program, and like was blessed with like 40 new brothers within the city, and even a larger network of brothers from different cities in LA and Chicago. I got to experience new experiences, whether it was being in big rooms with executives that look like me, or even having to experience going to Costa Rica at 16, 17 years old. Experiences that somebody like me, especially coming from where I come from in Queens, New York, in Far Rockaway, that nobody would have ever had the opportunity to, like, in compared to statistics. And thanks to TFI, not only have I developed like a new height of goals for myself and like a new foundation to where I want to be and where I want my family to be. I've also developed a new sense of self to not to to be kinder to myself and to not count myself out of rooms where I don't feel like I belong. To know that I belong in each room that I walk into, and I'm eternally grateful to TFI for that.
excellent, Luke. And I'm probably going to get the quote wrong, so I won't even try. But I know that there's a quote that speaks about how courage is not about being fearless. It's about having fears and still being able to step up and do what you have to do, even though that fear can be so overwhelming. And you're certainly an example of how it pays to overcome fear and face those things so that you can move forward into your future. Thanks for sharing. And last but not least, Reggie.
My name is Reggie Woods. I was a part, well, currently am still a part of the first cohort in Chicago, TFI. I am one of 9, a very, very, very huge family. I have 7 brothers. So I am no stranger to being around a lot of masculinity, being around a lot of boys, men. There's no stranger to that. So growing up, I've always kind of put this pressure on me that it's always a competition when I'm with a group of boys. It's always who's the strongest, who's going to be the smartest, who's the fastest. So when the idea of TFI was presented to me, I was super reluctant. I was really not in the mindset of having to start a 4-year journey with 39 other boys and competing day in and day out just to be the top dog. It was not what I wanted to do. Again, I had the experience growing up and I just was not for it. But when I let my mother know, well, I didn't even let her know, when the principal called my mom and let her know about the opportunity and the benefits that TFI gave, I really didn't have a choice. So the first Saturday I went there, I had to be dressed to impress. That right there already made me feel like, okay, I need a new shirt. Somebody's gonna look better, and it's a competition always brings out, in my opinion, the worst of people sometimes. And it brought out insecurities in me and a little fear. I just wasn't in the mindset of grasping an opportunity that could change my life for the better. I was really in the mindset of trying to stay away from opportunity that just caused me a lot of stress. I went there for the first time. The Saturday was nothing like I expected. I met so many Black and brown boys who not only wanted the same goal as me, but didn't want to tear me down in order for us to get the goal. Everybody was supporting each other. It was not a one man trying to get that trophy at the end. It was a relay race of all of us passing the baton, getting great grades, getting amazing opportunities, and just learning from each other. Because even though we all had that one thing, or 2 things actually, that was, a similarity, we're all men and we all have Black and brown skin, but we all had different ways of life. There were so many different personalities and ways of learning and developing. And I thank TFI for opening my eyes for that. I am a current graduated and certified chef and bartender. I currently teach down at a recreational cooking school here in Chicago, Illinois. I love bringing joy and passion into the kitchen. I think food is literally the key of happiness. I feel like if you have a great meal, you cannot be depressed or sad during that day. TFI has showed me how to be myself and still be a part of something. You don't have to kill off your individuality to be a part of a group and still learn from the group and develop from the group. My cohort director, his name was Ruli Lozano, and he gave me the confidence that I never thought I had. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been a part of this amazing vocal ensemble that gave me the opportunity to be on America's Got Talent. It opened doors for me that I never thought I had the key to. So for that, I genuinely thank TFI, I thank Vibrant, and I thank anybody out there for any programs that are directly for my people, to better my people, because we need it. To this day, we still need it.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Reggie. One of the biggest components and goals of the program is this notion of how important it is for men, just men in general, regardless of race or age, to be able to ask for help. And sometimes culturally, in terms of our society, and due to a lot of notions about what it means to be a man, and notions around masculinity, sometimes men of color in particular are suffering with personal challenges. It could be anything from anxiety to depression to sleep issues to relationship problems, and they're not comfortable asking for help. And so that's definitely one of the points that we really talk about so much at TFI with the college fellows and the fellows that are in the current cohorts. So keeping that in mind, As you look around you at the world and everything that's happening, particularly in our country, around the violence that's been exhibited against particularly Black men. So I think that many communities are affected and persons of color, but I would say specifically right now we're looking at Black men and the killings of Mr. George Floyd and so many others. What does that do to you? How does that impact you as you're trying to move out there into the world to make it a better place?
So, in my opinion, it just sets up us back steps, so many steps. You know, you graduate high school, you get into college, you get those classes, you feel like those classes are going to kick your butt. In reality, you kick those butts of the classes. You know, you're getting great grades, you're achieving in school, you're exceeding in every part of life. You know, but then something happens that's nowhere near you. You know, it's nothing to do with your direct family, but it can literally tarnish or ruin an entire day or week or month for us, you know, us Black boys, it ruins our lives because now there's another story we have to explain to our younger siblings. It's another story that we have to even explain to ourselves so we won't get filled with anger and nothing but depression. You know, to see a man with the same skin as me, to be able to see him, you know, have his final breath taken from him. It's it's discouraging. It's sad. It makes me fear what the next step is going to be. Forget the coronavirus. I don't want to go outside at all. You know, I understand it. Yeah, there's a epidemic going on. People can get sick. Screw the sickness at this point. I don't want to go outside because I don't want to die at a white man's hand. You know, I don't. Not only do I have to worry about a virus that's taking out the world, but I have to worry about a race of people who looks at my skin color as a weapon. They don't look at me as a person. When they see me, they don't see a genuinely good person. They don't see someone with a great smile and beautiful heart. They see a black man, not a man who's black. They see a black man, and that's it. You know, it's just my color. It hurts. It's sad. I've actually have lost someone super close to me. My older sister, her name was Reggie Woods, love of my life. Her life was taken away from her when she was 18 years old. She was just 10 or 11 months older than me. And she died to a similar way as George Floyd. If me and my family can log into our social platforms, and if we could see the way that my sister was taken away from us, I don't think that I will physically be here. So my heart goes out to his family, anybody who's ever known him, who has it's not a privilege, who has the rights taken away from them to have that last image of their loved ones in their head. Like when I think of my sister, I think of nothing but smiles and beauty. I think of nothing but grace and happiness. They don't have that choice anymore because the last image that they had of their loved one is death. So yeah.
So powerfully stated. Thank you for your honesty, Reggie. Anyone else want to share some thoughts?
Yeah, so I think what it makes me feel like is it really truly puts you into survival mode. That walking outside anywhere you go, you got to be on call, right? Because you know the skin color, the way we look, it's a weapon. That's what the perception is that the way we look is a weapon, and that we are aggressive, that we are thugs. And so it really fails to give us the opportunity to show that we are more, we're more than that, we're much bigger than that. And so that you have to always be on hold. Now I know personally and thankfully I haven't uh, experienced any racial incidents, and I would like to think that uh, I like to put myself in the best possible situation that I can to try to avoid those things. Now, I'm not saying that is a solution, right? Because we've seen so many cases already where, a black man is just minding his own business. He gets accused of something, and then it's either prison or, death, right? And so I think, I know I'm repeating the same stuff, but I think the main thing is, remaining in that survival mode, always having that thought in your head, like, oh man, like, is this the day? Is this the day? I know, like right now, I'm currently like in like the suburban area, right? So walking around, it's always that thought in my head, oh, am I looking like a threat to them? Because I know I have my dreams and what I want to get to. And so I don't want to have that, altered just because of the way I looked, So I think, yeah, just always being on hold and on call.
Yeah, there's a lot of unfairness in it, and especially this whole notion of your skin being a weapon. I've heard both Reggie and Rod say that, and it makes such a huge impact when I hear those words, because we are who we are, and we can't help how we are. Or who we are, but people can certainly help how they perceive the world and how they perceive others. That's why your voice today counts. That's exactly why. Did anyone else want to share any thoughts on how what's happening today in this, especially in this country, is impacting you as a man of color?
I'll go ahead and share. I think for me, it's been pretty demoralizing to be able to like log on to Twitter, log on to Instagram, and see physically have video of like people dying.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's so hard to watch because it's really because of their skin color, and the idea that that could be me any day, or a friend of mine any day, anybody I know any day, someone close to me, it just really hurts because for the most part, I feel like similar to Rod, I put myself in situations where I don't do anything wrong. I go out of my way to make sure I follow the rules. I do the right thing. I keep my head low. But at any moment, that could still be me. And, the idea that I could be approached with hostility because of the way that I look, it makes me feel, it doesn't make me feel good at all. Like Rod said, survival mode opposed to just living. I don't really want to be in survival mode, at all times. I just want to live my life, go to work, have fun. But the idea that in the back of my mind, I have to think, I'm black, so I can't, do that. It just is really demoralizing, and doesn't make me feel good about going outside, doing things that I would like to do.
Yeah, and doing things that probably most people don't really have to think about, right? I'm gonna go out and just do. I'm gonna go to a party. I'm gonna take a walk. Most of us don't have to think about that being a potential risk to our safety. So I hear you when you say demoralizing. I think a lot of us are feeling that and feeling that for you. Thanks for sharing. Luke, did you have some thoughts?
Yes, for me, it's very, it just brings about some insanity for me personally, because this isn't the first time this has happened to an African American person in America. It's been happening for like over the past couple of years, and with even a cycle of systematic racism and abuse by like not only like the people who are hired to protect us, but just a whole cycle of systematic racism and trauma towards people that look like us over the past 400 years and still counting to this day. And the thing that still baffles me is just like we literally have to beg. Literally have to beg for our own rights and our own will to live. We're literally telling the police, we're literally telling white people to stop killing us, to let us live our lives, and people still have to tell us, but what if, but what if you didn't do that? But what if you didn't look a certain way? What if you weren't out at this time of night? Why does there have to be what ifs to ask for certain rights to live? Like it's very confusing to me, and it's just really sad that I really have to go outside of my home and think about, what if this is the last time I say I love you to my mom and dad? What is the last time? This is the last time that my siblings see me, and something like that. Like, I could literally just go across the street to get some juice from the store, and I have to think about, what if I get, what if I'm looked at as a threat by a police officer, or by a white person, just by the color of my skin, just like Rod and Reggie and like Shamar have all sentimented already. And it's just like, we literally have to be in survival mode. I literally have to have the thought in my mind, even if, like, I'm in the city and I'm not sure if where the next train station is. I could ask a random white person in the city. I have to have that thought in my mind, like, what if I'm coming off as a threat to this person, and what if he feels like I'm about to rob him when I'm literally just asking for directions to the train station because I'm trying to get home. And I literally have to have that thought in my mind, where I try my best not to look as a threat. Like, my like the way me and my siblings were raised, we were raised not to we were raised not to be disrespectful or any sort. We literally try our best to do the best that we can. But even through photographic evidence over the past years and so forth, even you can do all the right things and you could still be murdered in cold blood by the police. So it is demoralizing, and it's still baffling to me to this day, and it's really sad that it still goes on.
Thank you all for your openness. I want to ask you, what would you like the world to see when they look at you? If all of these biases and all of these belief systems weren't in place, and this is your moment to brag, what would you like the world to really see?
Yeah, so I'll go on that. So yeah, I would really want the world to see, and I think I did a pretty good job of showing it so far. But a hardworking person who was also very kind, very loving, very caring, and that looks out for everyone. I don't discriminate against anyone. Like to say I'm a natural people's person, and I just want to show that, I'm no threat. I could be your best friend. I could be, some of my friends call me Roddy Toddy, because they like to compare me to like a little teddy bear and all that stuff. So, that's really what I wanna show.
Thank you. Rod, one of my favorite lines from a movie is an Avatar, and it's "I see you," and I want to say "I see you, we see you." Thank you. What about the rest of you? How do you want to be seen? What should they know? What should they see if they weren't blinded?
You said if they were blind?
If they weren't blinded by biases or by all of these fears.
Right. What I want people to see in me is nothing on the exterior. I want them to see like nothing but genuine emotion. I'm a big smiler. Like, I don't know what it is, but like I always smile. Even when like I'm not feeling it in my heart to smile, I always find myself smiling. And people are like, "Why are you smiling?" I'm just like, God gave it to me. I have very nice teeth in my opinion. So like, why not smile? I I don't know. I just want people to see nothing but hope and happiness when they see me. I want them to feel comfort. I want them to feel that they can talk to me. If you meet me for the first time, I want you to feel like you can talk to me about your deepest, darkest secrets and no one else will hear them. Because that's honestly who I am. I pride myself on being an empath. I exude feelings and I love taking feelings in. And I want people to know that like I'm not just a 6'2" Black man. I'm not just a tall stature, a big built stature. That's not all that God blessed me with, because my skin is a blessing. My height is a blessing. He gave me these legs so I can be able to jump over these hard and difficult times. That's why God gave this to me. But he also gave me a heart that's nothing but pure and huge for the world. I love loving. That's my saying. I love love. I love to feed off love. I love happiness. I feel like it's so hard to be angry and depressing and just to be angry and in a negative mood all day. that takes a lot out of you. Like, I've had those days. I've had those days when I woke up and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have attitude. Better nobody talk to me, and this is how I want to be. And you know how draining those days are compared to just having a smile on your face and thanking God for any and everything He's given you. Like, the difference of energy and how peaceful it is on those different days is just immense, you know. So that's what I want people to get from me when they feel me, not see me, but feel me, you know.
We see your beautiful smile and we feel your beautiful soul. Thank you, Reggie.
Thank you.
Other thoughts? I'd love to hear from Shemar or Luke. No pressure.
I could say, like, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to answer that question because I usually have like some the worst poker face. Like, I'll just stare at you with a blank face like a statue, and people will be scared to come up to me. But when you get to know me, I try like I turn into like the biggest clown that you'll ever know. I just know that I like to laugh. I like to enjoy life. I love even though like I'm an introvert to this day, and I like enjoying my own company. When it's time for me to be around people that I genuinely and interested honestly care about, like I'll be the most happiest person that you'll ever see. Like, I love to laugh. I love to enjoy life. Like, at the end of the day, um I'm just a man. I'm just a human at the end of the day. I have my days, I have my go throughs, I have my emotions. At the end of the day, I won't be happy 24/7, but at the end of the day, like, we're all human. We all go through that. So I guess what you see is what you get, and at the end of the day, I'm no different from anybody else. I guess I'm just like them, but also I'm just me. So that's the best way I could put it.
Yeah. Well, over almost 6 years, we've had a lot of good laughs, so I can attest to how funny you are. But also, everybody's carrying burdens, and I think that sometimes people fail to see that. And that's a constant reminder when we're talking, especially to the younger fellows coming into the program, is that we have to really measure our words and our actions, because we don't know what somebody's carrying or how much it weighs. And we could either tip them over, push them over, or sustain them and give them a hand and help them rise up. So I think the power of humor is so important. Thank you, Luke, for sharing.
No problem.
So for me, similar to Luke, like you said, I also don't have like the most, welcoming face on appearance. I've definitely got the, you look a bit intimidating. But once you get past that, once you get to know me, or someone, if I want someone to just get a clean slate, just get to know me, I would love for them to just see a real hard worker. I think I push myself a lot. I really push myself to the limit in terms of, doing as much as I can, expanding, because I really want to succeed that bad. So I really feel like, if someone just got a chance to get to know me, I would really want to emphasize that. And along with my ability to just, work very hard, I'm a very, calm, chill person. I feel like I get along with a lot of people. I'm very like adaptive to different personalities, Um, so yeah, overall, I'm just like anybody else. I'm no different than another person you see on the street. No more special, no less special. I have my personality traits, and I'm just a regular person.
We see you and all those facets of who you are. They all comprise who you are. Thanks for sharing. We've had conversations with fellows in current and in previous cohorts about what it feels like to be a little brown or black boy and have your parents sit you down to have the talk, right? The talk. So when I say that, what does the talk mean? Can you explain that to perhaps someone who doesn't know what that experience is or what that even means? What is the talk?
So the talk, I feel like traditionally, at least in our community, it's been known as when a parent sits down their child, at a fairly young age, and lets them know that these are the ways you act around authority figures, especially police, in order for you to stay alive. So it's typically like, if you see a cop, listen to everything that they say. Make no sudden movements. Don't don't be. Try your best not to be as threatening. literally just limiting, any action that you can around any authority figure. And a parent tells a child that, just so that they can stay alive. So yeah, that's what the talk is. And I don't know if you want me to expand on, how I feel about the talk or.
We would love to hear more. Thanks.
So for me, the talk is, I think it's a really tough thing for a parent to sit down a child and tell them that, because it comes from a place of like, I want you to live, but it also shouldn't exist, because it shouldn't be our community, needs to have this talk so that our community can stay alive. I think it's very depressing to have to tell a child that, because of the way you look, this is how you need to act around these certain people. And it comes as like a defense, we need to defend ourselves in order to remain alive. And I think that, it's also difficult for a parent to understand that they're bringing a child into the world where, this exists. And unfortunately, this is the reality. And, when anyone in our community says the talk, we all nod our heads, we know what it means, because we've all had it, we've all had to have it. And I don't think we should have, so.
I couldn't have said it better. Thank you. Any other thoughts on that experience of having the talk, Reggie?
So my talk came a little different and earlier than all of my younger, because I'm the second oldest of 9. And my talk came a little earlier than all my younger brothers and my little sister. Like, it just came a little earlier, only because I was blessed with, from my mother, the amazing vocal cords that I have to this day. My voice has always been able to carry. Even when I was in pre-K, I feel like I'm whispering and I'm sneaking, talking to my friends at the table, but they can hear me in the room across the hall. So it's always been a blessing and a curse. And when my mother noticed that I got that from her, because she's a very beautiful and her voice is just, my mama's voice from a mile away. And I got that from her. And when she noticed that I got that trait from her, she sat down and she let me know, like, hey, I know how your mouth is because I have the same exact mouthpiece. When you see cops and if they stop y'all, you don't talk. Like, you specifically, out of the group of people, don't talk, because they don't know if you're being kind. They don't know if you're being just a regular you. In their opinion, you're probably yelling at them, and that's going to give them the right to do whatever they want. So, like, I never was told, like, say yes or no, keep your eyes in the forward. Like, the talk I got was just, don't say anything. Be quiet. If they ask for your parents' information, give them to them. Put your hands up and just shut up. My mama said that in the nicest, sweetest way, but like literally the most simplistic way is just like, shut up. Reggie, be quiet. Just be quiet. And I remember the day she had to talk with me. I was not in nothing. I couldn't have been in like 3rd or 4th grade, I remember that to this day, because every time after that, whenever the cops will come behind us, like when we're driving on the E-way, whenever the cops are behind us, I just feel that beating in my heart, like, oh my God, they finna stop my mama. And then I'm not gonna be able to say nothing. I can't even say nothing. Like, whenever I saw the cops at like the grocery store or anything, I get close to my mom and just my heart just starts beating, because I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna come get me because I'm loud. They're gonna get me, and I've always had that fear, like being loud is just the right for somebody just to gun me down. And it took years to know that I have rights. I can speak with authority, but still be respectful. I don't want to say that talk ruined me, because my mom kept me alive. She personally has 6 boys, and she kept all of us off the street and alive. So I thank her from the bottom of my heart all the time. But when I have a beautiful brown baby, I don't want to have that talk. It's far-fetched for me to say that I wish that we won't have this problem in 10 years, 10, 15 years, but it's going to be here. It's sad, but it's a system. Systems are put in place 400, 500 years ago. And when systems are put in place, they're not meant to change, or they're not meant to be broken down. They were built so they can stay the same. What I pray and I hope is that we can implement a better system that'll take away power from the system that's in place now, and hopefully the talk will be a little modified in 10 to 15 years, where it's not don't talk to the police. Don't be loud with police. Keep your hands up. Make sure you're respectful. Don't say anything. Just be afraid. Like, I don't want that to be the talk. Hopefully the talk in years will be about the birds and the bees and be respectful to the police. You know, I have a lot of different race friends, like a lot of Caucasian friends, a lot of Hispanic friends. And when I talk about the talk, or when the talk is even brought up, it's always about the birds and the bees or something like that. And I'm like, well, that wasn't really a pressing thing in my household. It was just the cops. And then we got to the birds and the bees when it was time, you know? So who knows? That's the talk where I'm from.
Well, you conveyed how much love your mother tried to represent to you in that talk. And my heart just breaks thinking about what that was like for her. And my heart breaks for you as a little boy, having to try to figure out what's wrong with my beautiful voice.
Yeah, like,
I know you
why can't I be loud, mama? Like, that was literally what I asked her, like, why can't I be loud, mama? And she was like, baby, listen, we just can't. Like, we can't. And when she said we can't, I was like, okay, she's not singling me out. She's not saying that I'm wrong in the situation. I'm going to always be wrong. She said we can't be loud. And when I was young, but I heard that we, and I was like, okay, this is for a lot of us, if not all of us, you know. Even though my brothers are a little more soft-spoken, she said we, so I know it ain't just me. So when I saw my mom got pulled over one time in my life that I've seen, and I've never seen my mama that quiet in my life. Like, even when my grandmother's howling at her, she's not quiet. My mom just, yes, sir. Okay, sir, these are my kids, sir. And that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary. It's really scary. I think it's scary on two levels. One is that the talk is only had with brown and black boys, but second is that we have to have a talk about the people who are protecting us. So we have to have that talk at all about the people who are supposed to be protecting us. This might be a bit more of a personal question, and always you can opt out of any questions, as with all our conversations at the fellowship. But I'm curious if you've had experiences where you encountered discrimination, racial profiling, or any forms of those types of behaviors directed towards you for no apparent reason by the police, if that's ever happened. And if you're open to sharing a little bit about that.
I like went first the last time, so I'm trying to see if anybody else will go first.
And it's really optional. I know this wasn't part of our sort of initial questions, but I know a lot of fellows do have stories.
Well, me personally, I could say that I was like very privileged in the sense not to have to go through that experience firsthand. But I remember like after school one time, me and my friends, we came back from we were going bowling one day, and we came back from a game. We were walking back to the bus stop, and one of my friends, he stopped inside the closest store. He stopped inside the closest store and the nearest to get a drink and something like that. And when he came, we were waiting for him outside like for like a good like 5-7 minutes. And then later he came out the store saying like, not really the police following him, but he felt like the clerk of the store was pretty much, he came as soon as, mind you, all my friends in the group were black, were darker skinned, like at least my skin tone. And when he came out the store, he was like, the owner of the store, he was following me around. He was thinking I was gonna steal something. He was gonna think I was gonna take the. I just came to get the soda, and I saw him behind me. And came up to the when I came up to the desk, he was following me right back. So basically, it was like we always have to deal with racial discrimination for like the littlest things, like because we're seen as like criminals, thugs, all of the above you can call us. And it's just like it's like we can never get a break. We always have to have those antennas up, and we can never just like for the life for African Americans, we can never just be kids. We can never just be like people. We have to always have um we always gotta have those antennas up, even when it's for the littlest things. So it's very heartbreaking, but it's also the unfortunate reality we have to deal with.
Does it become exhausting?
At this point, to have to talk about it, to always have to repeat it to people, and not just repeat the people who go through the same things, but people who have the privilege to never have to deal with it, but they say they understand, but at the end of the day, they never will, because this is life that as African Americans we have to deal with on the day-to-day basis until the the hopeful one day that the system is going to change and the implements will happen. It's just like we always have to have antennas up for everything that we do, for the littlest things.
Yeah, it certainly sounds exhausting. Any other experiences around racial profiling?
So my experience was a little different, and it was a little like out of body, you know. All my life I didn't take pride in it, but I was very cautious and proud that I never had to deal with, you know, being singled out because I was Black, or, you know, being handcuffed or being stopped in the store. Like literally all up until high school, till I graduated high school, I was just thankful that I didn't have that opportunity. And not only was I thankful, but behind closed door, I was a little ashamed, because I didn't never want to tell my friends, like, yeah, I've never experienced that. I'm sorry. You know, I've never
Yeah,
experienced that. I'm sorry. So I was always like, damn, like, excuse my French. I was always like, dang, like, I can't tell them I don't know what they're going through, but I also can't tell them, like, I understand because I'm one of you, you know? So I graduated high school. It was my first year in college. Before I got my culinary degree and I started going down the path of cooking, I got a full ride to it was a HBCU in Birmingham, Alabama. It was like the first or second week that I was in Alabama, and I met a fair-skinned Hispanic friend. She was beautiful, long blonde hair, but she was Hispanic, but she was more on the fair side. We were coming from a college party. It was me and her. She was a little under the influence. I was in the passenger seat, not driving. Um, you know, I shouldn't have been in the car with her at all, but I needed to get back to my dorm. So it was just, I was put in one of those situations. We were driving and we got stopped by the police. It was a white cop and a Black cop. They asked me to step out of the car. They made me spread my legs wide and put my hands on top. And I assumed that my female friend was going to have to do the exact same thing. You know, I thought they was going to give her the breathalyzer. I thought they was going to check her seat to see if she had any drugs or alcohol on her. They did not touch her. They barely spoke to her. They, even when they did speak to her, they walked me to their car just to ask her, like, are you okay? Do you know him? Where are you guys going? And like, she told me what they were asking. Where are you guys going? Do you want to drive him? Is he under the influence? Does he have any drugs? Do you know where he's from? Because they didn't believe my information that I was giving them. I was living in a really nice dorm because of the scholarship I got for the music program I was in. I had a really, really, really nice apartment dorm. Um, it was on the more expensive side, but because of my intelligence and my talents, I didn't have to pay for it, you know. And he did not believe that I lived in the exact same area that she did. And when I found out that they didn't give her a breathalyzer, they didn't check her purse, they didn't even ask her to step out of the car, all I could do was cry. Like, I was like, okay, I can't be down here. I cannot be in Alabama. I don't know what's going on. Not only was she a little drunk, but she had drugs in her purse. I found out after the case because she was laughing about the situation, but she didn't have a license. Like, and I had a fine. Like, I had a fine for like driving around because I had a drink or two, and they could smell the alcohol in my breath, and they fined me $175. She didn't get a fine. She didn't get a ticket. Her license wasn't pulled. Her license plate wasn't, like, nothing happened. Like, she basically wasn't there. She was a ghost in the situation. And I feel like if they even knew that she was Hispanic, or if they knew that she was Black, it would have been a totally different story. But like I said, she was beautiful. She was fair-skinned. She was well put together. Her hair was a lighter blonde complexion. Like, and I was confused when I got back in the car because I was like, oh my God, like, what just happened? Like, am I going to get in trouble? Like, is my mama going to be able to see this bill? Like, that was the first thought. Like, is my mama going to get this bill? She was like, no, this has happened before. Like, all you got to do is pay it off. You can get the payment plan through the school, da, 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 da. And I was like, do you got one too? She was like, he didn't even check my ID. He didn't even ask for my license. I was like, where is your license? She was like, I don't have a license. I got my permit. I was like, so that was the last time I talked to her, last time I saw her. She didn't defend me. She didn't say, like, she didn't take any responsibility for anything at all. Like, she didn't even offer to help me with the ticket and stuff, you know. After that, I moved back home. I enrolled into a different college because I was afraid. Like, that scared me, you know. Like, I couldn't even talk to the men properly because I was afraid that if I said the wrong thing, I was going to be in jail all the way in Birmingham, Alabama. I don't have an inch of family there, and I'm the worst at remembering numbers. Like, I don't know what jail is, you know. So all I thought was that they was going to give me an orange jumper. I was going to have to call my mom. Like, it was just a big, like, out of body experience. So I went home. I finished that year of college, and I never went out partying again. I never was in a car with anybody that had any alcohol or anything again. And, you know, when you're a freshman in college, partying is like, come on,
The
man.
norm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when there's no parents in the room asking what's going on. You don't got to talk to your mama for like a day or two.
It is what it is.
Exactly. You come from a big family like mine. I never had like a lot of freedom because my mom always wanted us to be okay. I was the first person ever in my family to leave the state to do anything, really. So, like, you know, I was just scared. I thought that I came here to have fun and learn, but now, like, the fun is off the table because anywhere I go, I'm going to be the person that they put in the back of their car, you know? So I never went out drinking again. Like, I just had a depressing freshman year only because of that one incident, you know? So.
I think what's so powerful about what you both shared is that one incident like that can alter the course of your life.
Yes.
You made decisions that change your life forever based on one night, maybe, I don't know, a few minutes of an interaction drastically altered your future. And so I think perhaps people don't think about the impacts, you know, and how over the long term, repeatedly being exposed to those scenes can really do a number on you. And so that leads me to my next question. I'd love to hear from you on this perspective, but how do you think this affects the mental health of men and boys of color? What do you think this does to the psyche, to the mind, to live with these fears, to know that there are these injustices, and to sometimes have this sense of feeling demoralized and even hopeless? What do you think that does to you?
For me personally, I feel like it weighs very heavy on the mental health, on the mental health of like African Americans, because a majority of us already come from like tough backgrounds and um not so not so wealthy neighborhoods and stuff like that. So we're already doing our best to like get by and like do the best that we can in terms of like survival. And to be honest, the most that we coming from where we come from, we just try to make it to our next birthday as much as we can. And the fact that we already have to deal with the added threat of police violence and police brutality, it for me it almost makes me ask the question to the world, like, can I even live? Like is that too much to ask? It's almost like brings a me versus the world mentality. Like for me, I always felt like it was me versus the world growing up. Like almost still to this day with everything that I went through. But it's just like you feel hopeless. You feel like besides your family, nobody is really there to care for you, to protect you. It makes you feel like is life even worth it? Do I even want to go outside? Do I even want to muster up the courage to get out of my bed and face the world, face impending dangers that could happen to me today, tomorrow, next week, next month? It's 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 a lot on the brain. It's a lot, on the mental is just so much to handle that there's not even enough words to describe it.
Yeah. And the fact that you get up every day and you keep going is what's amazing. That's what's amazing. Happy to
Yeah.
hear.
Because I,
My
oh,
bad. My bad.
nah, my bad, bro. You go right ahead.
Oh yeah. So yeah, what I was about to say, yeah, I would say like yeah, it definitely takes a toll on you. You know, like I said going back earlier, you know, you always in survival mode, right? You always thinking about like the double consciousness, you know, which kind of creates you know anxiety and stuff like that and stress, unneeded stress, just because you know you caring about how you look or where you are, you know, and so you know I know um I like to say, you know, like everyone, like we all want nice things, right? And like, you know, obviously, you know, growing up in not a nice area, you know, you want to go in the nice area. But what's crazy about that is that when you get into like the new suburban area, like I'm kind of in now, you know, for the moment, it's kind of like you don't feel as safe and as protected as if you were back home where it's maybe not so nice, you know. And like I'm like a flashy person, right? I like to be like the best dressed, and but you know, if I'm coming over here in this new area, I'm no like, oh, Rod, I don't know if you should be wearing this chain today, you know, because you may look like something that you don't want to look like, and that's kind of like, you know, when you get in that area, it's just like, oh, I gotta look a certain way so I won't be accused, right? But going back home, oh, I could walk down the street, I could have my chain on, I could look, you know, like this and like that. So, I think it truly takes on a lot of stress. It creates anxiety, um, and yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
So like Rod said, it creates a lot of things that me and my people, and when I say my people, I mean black and brown, we weren't taught to deal with. Depression, anxiety, you know, self-hate, just all those things that I personally feel like you need someone else to help you with to get over and to defeat. Like we weren't taught, we weren't given the proper tools to fix these things: depression, anxiety, self-hate. Like we weren't, what we were given was a band-aid. You know, put it over that cut and get on up. Go back to work. Go back to school. Hustle. Do what you got to do. You know, we weren't given the proper tools to deal with sadness. We weren't given with the proper tools to deal with something as fragile as anxiety. You know, so the only thing that we can do to fix that or to fight that is anger. All we could do is get angry, get even, get back. You know, it's just an endless cycle of just nothing but viciousness and hate and sadness. Where if we were taught to deal with these problems, if we were given the proper resources to deal with these dark things, I think life would be so much easier to live. You know, yeah, we're going to always deal with someone not liking us for the color that we have, you know, but then what happens when that kid who's as brown as me, you know, first grade, kindergarten, and they have a fair skin, well, you can't play with us because you don't look like me. So then that kid goes home and they hate themselves because they don't have the requirements to have the friends they want. What do we do with that child when they just have all these temper tantrums when we don't know why they're so angry? And all they need is a talk that can let them know that, hey, you are beautiful. You are accepted. You don't need anything that's not good for you. You know, I had to wait till I was in TFI before I got the help I needed to be the person that I deserve to be. You know, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to smile. I deserve to get back up and not feel like I'm pressured to live every day. and to be a strong Black man, and to work and work and work and keep a smile and work and work. Like, without TFI, I wouldn't know how to cope properly. My Black people, we're strong. My brown people, we're strong, but we don't know how to be strong and happy. The world doesn't give us that option to be strong and happy. You got to be strong and stern, strong and angry, strong and diligent, strong and have tenacity to keep getting back up, because you're putting down every single day. You know, when I've never met George Floyd. I'm sad to this day that man lost his life. An extra inch of a little depression and anxiety put on my belt from a man that I'd never met. My population is huge. So imagine all the anxiety and sadness that just spread it across the world like wildfire. How are we going to deal with that? My people are angry now. Are you going to put us in jail and shoot us because we're upset? Or are you going to help us, give us the attention that we need, the sensitivity that we deserve, because we've been treated with so much brutality? Like, when are you going to be sensitive to us? Why do we have to pay taxes, and why do we have to pay for people that are supposed to protect us, to protect everyone else from us? You're protecting the world from us when we're just like you. Like, I was raised to, okay, if anything happened in this house, call 911. Why would I call the people that'll kill me if they think I'm the problem in the house? What am I supposed to do? If someone steals from me, who am I supposed to call? Who gonna save me? You know, I don't want to call 911. I personally don't want to call 911. That's why when we get in trouble, I don't want to speak for everybody else, but when I'm in trouble, the first person I call is my mom. Even though she has no medical degree, she has no siren on her car that'll get to me faster. But I know that lady, that human, that person, the best interest for me at heart. I can't say that for 911.
I think you speak for a lot of people, Reggie. Thank you. Any other lingering thoughts before we move on?
I think that's the perfect note to end it on. We can rock to the next one.
Thank you so much, Mark. So currently, it's really been very inspiring to see how many people have taken a stance and have gone out to protest and to let their voices be heard. And that has also come, obviously, with some negatives and with some challenges, with some criticisms. But I wonder if you could speak to what takes people out into the street with this intention to be heard. What's driving them? Can you help us better understand that? Because I think a lot of people are confused, and perhaps even some of us carry judgments about the protests and the activities around looting, for example. Yes, Luke.
For me personally, I believe it's because there's no more time for talking. There's no reason to talk anymore, because we've tried to reason for like how long now? We're still trying to reason to this day. We tried to have conversations. We've tried performative performative explanations. We've tried think pieces. We're writing think pieces on think pieces. We've written news stories. We've had multiple intellectual discussions on why that we're trying to get the rights that we deserve. And honestly, there's no more reason for it. Like we've honestly gone down to the last resort, and honestly it's getting into the streets and using our voices, and sometimes even having to get violent. Like, me personally, I don't feel like that's the best way to handle a problem, but in this case it's still going on to this day. 400 years is and still counting, like I said before. And honestly, that's literally the only reason that we actually get America to actually listen. It's like the same way with Michael Brown. nobody was actually taking it serious until the riots and all the violence actually implemented, and they've actually took to turn their attention to the problem. And even though they're still trying to deny like this is the best way, they're still not looking at the reason for why we're doing this. Like it's not like this all popped up out of nowhere. It's been an underlying system that's gone on for too long. Like it's literally time to actually take our voices to where they need to be heard. It's literally time to spread the word. And honestly, this is probably the best time is now. There's no time like the present to actually to take it to these circumstances, and hopefully they'll actually get the result. Like, we don't need any more murals, Black Lives murals matters in the streets. Those are cute. We have Dr. Martin Luther King streets being named in every city in America. Those are fine. And you can do your kneeling to tributes. Those are very helpful. Those spread awareness. But until we actually get it actually legalized and actually implemented into the system, there's no more reason to talk about it, because we tried everything. Now it was time for us to do something about it. And this is honestly the most effective and the best way to actually change the system to this day. And that's just what it is. That's how I feel about it. And this is the best way to go about it to finally achieve change in America.
Your perspective and your honesty are really appreciated. And I saw a lot of head nods, a couple of snaps there. It seems like what Luke was saying was resonating for some of you.
Yes.
If I go ahead and add, I totally agree with a lot of the points that Luke said. I also don't think, like, personally, violence is like always last resort for me. I really don't like violence. Like, when you're backed into a corner, I have no other option left. That's when violence is an option. And honestly, that's the point where our community is at. Like Luke said, we've literally tried everything. We said every word that's known to man. We can't create any more new words to change any minds. We've done we've written articles, books, everything you could think of, we've done. And it can't be denied that, people are angry, and they're very upset. And I think, considering that there's a pandemic outside and people still feel the urge to go outside because they're that upset, shows you how, furious we are. So yeah, I've never been a big fan of violence, but I do feel like that's the only option we're left with at this point. Nothing else has worked. And it's gaining a lot of attention, So yeah, that's the point that I feel like we're at right now.
Yeah. So well stated. Thank you, Shemar. Thank you.
But to piggyback on what Shemar said, violence is never the answer. Violence should never be the first result to get things done. But need I mind you, if our lives are so easily disposable, because that's literally what it's become, we're disposable. Just another Black person, let's add them to the list. If we can be that disposable, why can't your stores? Why can't we take them away too? I don't want anyone to physically be hurt, like blood drawn. That's not ever what I wish or pray on. But that storefront can go. These franchises can go. If you could take my life, if death is so easy, when has killing been so easy for people to do? Like, I'm so sorry, but growing up to kill someone is so like gut-wrenching and disgusting and like it's scary. I was raised to fear the person that can kill. If they can kill, they can do anything. So if I'm so easily disposable, why can't your storefronts be disposable as well? Why can't the the right of doing what you want to anybody. Why can't that be disposable? Why can't you implement more systems that gets these dirty cops off the streets, gets racists off the streets? Why is your police program so easy to get through? Why is it only physical things that you have to pass for the police program? Why aren't there psych evaluations for years? Why are there doctors they have to wait years and years and years to get a degree to cut someone open? But there are literally cops out here that did a 6 to 12 month program, but they have the power to kill. Does that not sound lunatic? Like, the true definition of an idiot or idiotic person or things is someone doing the exact same thing over and over and over and expecting a difference. How dare I show you my heart and cry to you over and over and over and expect you to be like, okay, no more racist. Okay, no more police brutality. No, I'm not an idiot. My people are idiots. We have showed you how intellectual we are. We gave you Martin Luther King. We have showed you how powerful we are. You've met Malcolm X. We have all these amazing Black people who have showed you what we have to offer, but you still can dispose of us. You still are okay with getting rid of us. Your first priority isn't to put those cops away forever. Take their badges forever. Defund the police. Why is that so? It's easy for you to kill, but it's hard for you to take money out of the police pockets. How crazy does that sound? We have a president that can make jokes about my people being gunned, choked, killed, raped. We have a president that can joke about it. But when we knock out a couple of stores, or when we were protesting, it's an issue. That you find threatening, that you find a problem with. But your president can laugh at my brother being killed. No one finds that crazy. I saw that trending for one day. The president joking, I saw that being a trend for one day, and then it was over with. But you hear about looting, and you're hearing about people protesting, and that's all you're focused on. Let's get these people off the streets. Let's do these curfews. Nobody on the street. If you're not an essential worker, get off the street. Stop killing me. Put the gun away. Put them behind bars. And I'll go home. I don't want to be here. I'm not immune to the coronavirus. My feet hurt. I don't want to be here. How about you give me something that'll make me feel like I'm safe in the country that I'm supposed to love so much? Give me something that'll make me feel safe, and I'll stop tearing up your businesses. And when I say I'm speaking for my Black and brown. I'm speaking for my brothers and sisters. Treat me how I treat you. And I'll give you the peace that you want so bad. Since these couple of days or this week or two have disrupted your everyday life so much, and it's brought so much drama to your life, how about you stop killing my people for the first time in 400 years, and I'll give you something that'll make you smile tomorrow morning. How about that?
We hear you. Thank you.
Yeah, man, that's really what I want to touch on too. You know, I've always grown up, and what's gotten me through to where I am today is with the mindset of stop talking and just do it. You know, and I've always been, I know it's kind of been an unpopular opinion around my like fellow Black friends and stuff like that. But I'm saying, well, I told them, I said, not saying I don't see the use of the protest, right? But I'm saying I would rather we stop talking and just do something, right? We have all these the peaceful protests. The Black Lives Matter movement been around for years. I mean, it's great that it's being highlighted more now, but it's been around. We've been trying to do something peaceful. It made its impact in all of the sports world. Everyone's taking the kneeling, things like that. But like I said, this like they everyone has said so far, this fight has been going on for over 400 years. And uh, after George Floyd and how that went out, the time talking's over. If we got to go disrupt stores and make an impact where you can start noticing us, we'll do anything. We'll go tear down stores. We go do anything. I know I had a non-black friend of mine call me, say, "Oh yeah, this ain't protests. These riots." I said, "Well, go on, let them riot. If it's gonna get some people to finally start taking notice of us and how we tired of this stuff, then go on. So be it." And I think the problem and the way the media works now is, that's their way of shifting the conversation from what's really the matter that's really at hand. Like Reggie said, yeah, we going out there looting and stuff, and so they shift the conversation to, oh, look at these looters. They destroying businesses, boo hoo, and now nobody cares about, oh, what the message behind of what we trying to do is, right? So I think you know we just got to keep doing that, keep disrupting. It's going to be a challenge with that because they're going to always, the media is going to always try to shift the conversation away. So, but I think we're on the right track. I think we can be able to continue to do what we're doing, and we will see change, but we got to keep disrupting.
So deeply moved by your words and your sentiments. And I want you to know that your voices matter. I don't know if you feel that, so I'm going to ask you. Do you think your voices, even just today, even what we're doing here in this conversation, do you think your voice matters?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely do. And like, I've always tried, well, I'll say I came a long way personally, right? Because in the younger days, in the beginning of TFI, I was like real, really shy. I wouldn't really open up. Like I was kind of like a mix between like being like in the middle of the shy and like the cool kid, right? Because like I was still funny, but like I'll be just like that friend. I'll just stand there and don't talk, right? But I can crack jokes here and there, and then I'll be considered like cool or whatnot. But I would never have thought that I'll be, on the platform if I would have, worked myself up to this point where I can do, public speaking and being able to talk. Because I like to think that, your message, the tone of the voice, and the way you say it and the way you speak, it really it enables to really relay the message and to show that you know what you're talking about. Because I remember freshman year, I was talking to one of my friends, and it wasn't about like any of these issues. I think I forgot what the topic was, but just the way like I was speaking, the way I will connect and make like analogies and stuff like that because I love doing that because I love hearing the people go, like, oh man, he didn't did it to me like this. Oh my God. I love doing that. But, he told me like, yeah, man, you sound like you read books and all this and that, so it's just a compliment of how knowledgeable and uh, how I sound. So I think the voice matters, and I pride myself on really making an impact with every word I say.
Yes. Yes. Other thoughts? Does your voice matter?
So it took me a while to believe that there was power in my voice. But the older I got and the stronger my belief and faith in God got, I knew that not only did he bless me, but I feel as if he's blessed everyone with the ability to speak to speak volumes to whoever if they have passion with what they're speaking about. I always found myself trying to be a people pleaser. I hated stepping on toes. I hated making anyone feel uncomfortable with my opinion, so I never felt the need to share it. I never wanted anyone to feel as if I was disagreeing with them. So I always kept my mouth closed when it came to anything as far as politics or sexual orientation or anything that can really be a conversation turner or anything that can really make someone be like Rod said, any type of those conversations I've always steered away from until I got older and I was like, wait, like not only do I have an opinion, but I feel like I can not change how people feel, but if I can allow someone to feel my pain with my words, hopefully it could it could spark something. I've always been really big on performing. I love music. Music is always my first passion. I've been singing since, I don't know, since I've been able to talk. And once I knew that I had power in my voice and I could make people feel whatever it is that I was feeling when I was singing, I knew that if only I talked with that much diction and that much like power, I knew that there was a force in me. I knew it. And I didn't know where it came from. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? Like, people are agreeing with me, what's happening? And once I knew that I had some type of in the back of my voice, I had something that'll make people think, even if they didn't agree with me by the end of the conversations, as long as they're thinking about that topic. You know, I grew up in a family where, you know, being an African-American male and being a part of the LGBT community is not something that's super, super, super accepted. And I can honestly say my parents and my aunts, uncles, a lot of people were super ignorant when it came to accepting me and who I am. And growing up, I always just took those little verbal, you know, jabs only because I thought that if I said something, not only would that out me, but I'll have a group of people that I love so much against me. That's the worst feeling in the world, is to feel like the people that you love are against you. So I went, you know, most of my teen life, you know, staying to myself and not speaking out until I felt like if I want them to love me for who I truly am, they have to hear how I truly feel about who I am. You know, they know me, they know Reggie, they raised Reggie, they grew up with Reggie, but they don't know what's inside Reggie. Why Reggie makes the decisions he makes. Why does he choose to live the life that he's living? So I had to explain that to them to open their eyes. Now, I can't say that that one conversation gave me nothing but open arms and acceptance. But that conversation I had a year and a half ago has given me the opportunity to share things with my mother and my father that I never thought I'd be able to share, to invite them into a part of my life that I thought I was going to have to keep to myself forever. You know, I've found a partner that I love 100%, that I find myself being with for the rest of my life. And I thought that I was going to have to be with them by myself. You know, now my mother knows my partner. My mother's in my life. And that's because of the power of the tongue. I had to not convince her, but I had to open her eyes in her heart into accepting what I have to offer. Not as a male, not as a gay male, not as anything other than her son. You know, I had to talk to my mom and break those walls down that block the view of me just being your son. I'm your son. Before I'm anything, I'm your son. When I came out of you and that doctor popped me so I can cry, all they knew was I was your son. They didn't know my weight. They didn't know anything. I was your son. That's it. That's all. And I'm going to always be your son, no matter what decisions I make. If I want to dye my hair blonde today or tomorrow, if I want to cut it all off, or if I want to change my physical appearance for the rest of my life, I'm going to always be your son. And my mom didn't, she always knew that, but I had to tell her that so she could feel it. You know, there's a difference of knowing and feeling something, you know, physically. She had to feel that in her heart. Like, I'm your son, no matter what, I'm your son. And I've had friends, you know, friends who they don't understand the Black Lives Matter movement. They don't understand what I go through as not only being Black, but being a part of the LGBT community. They don't understand how difficult all that pressure could be. They're like, just get over it. Live your life. It's going to be okay. It's not okay. You know, so I had to explain to them what I go through on a day-to-day basis and what they can do to make them being in my life, not only it being beneficial for them, but being beneficial for me as well. I had to teach a lot of friends that it's not just fun to have a gay Black best friend. You know, that's not the goal. That shouldn't be your goal. Learn who I am. Teach. Open your heart for it. Even if you have children in the future and they go down the path that I'm going to, you'll know how to properly take care of that child. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to nurture that child, not make that child feel any type of rejection. Because that's what I grew up feeling all my life, rejected. Rejected by the Black community because I was gay, and rejected by everyone else because I was Black. You know, it was always just a sign of rejection everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. I had to show the people that I love, not even just show, tell the people that I love what it means to be who I am, you know, and I couldn't do that without my voice. You know, you could do things over text, you could do things over phone calls. Some people are very soft-spoken, but if I wasn't able to use the power behind my voice and exude the emotions that I felt, I don't think that I would be as successful in the relationships that I'm in, whether it's friends, family. All of those relationships are flourishing because I use the power of my tongue to allow them to be in my life and accept my life, you know? So that's my voice.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Reggie. I'm glad you're using your voice for all good things.
Me personally, if you ask me when I was like a younger Luke, 7, 8 years old, I probably never would have thought that my voice had mattered, or I had a place in this world or a being. But I also look back at the trip to South Africa and some of the teachings I learned about Nelson Mandela, and a quote comes to mind. He says, "Who are you not to be?" I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, "Who are you not to be great? You're playing small in the world does not serve anybody. Shrinking yourself does not help anyone due to the insecurities of others." And honestly, I kind of grew more out of my shell like when I was younger, because I never wanted. Not only did I feel like I had a voice, I never felt like sort of being the person that always wanted attention on him, or like being in the spotlight, because I was mainly soft spoken, still soft spoken to this day, but I never felt like I wanted to be that guy in the spotlight, that guy that had all the attentions sort of directed towards him. It is nice, but I enjoy being mainly to myself. But slowly over time, especially through TFI, I would grow into my own role and learn that me being a people pleaser, being the person that I was, to pretty much find acceptance and validation in others, that didn't serve me, because I came into this world by myself and I'm gonna die in this world by myself. So it's just like you're the only person that you got, and your voice, you're the only person who can advocate you for yourself. You're the only person who can speak to yourself. And now that I have the rare opportunity to be on such a platform like this, I can only speak for myself as much as I can. I can only have faith and power and confidence in the words that I have in spaces like this. So if you ask me if to answer your question, yes, I do believe my voice matters, and I'm glad that I can use it today and any other day from this day forward.
So are we. Absolutely.
So similar to a lot of us, when I was younger, I also didn't think my voice really mattered. Like I had a lot of thoughts, but I just never really spoke about them. And a lot of the reason for that was because I didn't feel like, what I had to say was really important. Am I saying anything different than what's already been said before? That was a lot of the thoughts that went through my head. But like through TFI, I got the opportunity. Like I was literally forced into a position where, Shemar, you have to speak in front of this group of people, and I was very uncomfortable. But I was like, yeah, I guess I have to do it. So, we had this thing called the Brotherhood Circle at the end of every session, and I got the opportunity to stand in there, and like 30 something people are looking at me while I get a chance to speak, and that was the first time I really spoke in front of a group of people, and I just talked. And then when it was done, like it was just silence, and I was like, did I mess up with something? And then a lot of my brothers were just giving me a lot of support because they really enjoyed what I said, and that was the moment. That was the moment when I realized my voice mattered because, for me it was just like I didn't say anything like new really. That's what I thought. I was like, whatever I said, someone said a version of it before or something like that. But over time, as I come to like speak more in front of people, I started to realize that everyone has something different to say. Even if it's similar, it's different. There's no two people the same on this earth. Your experience is different from anybody else. Me and one person could go through the exact same thing, but we could come out with different interpretations. And I think that's really valuable because you should say it. If you have an opportunity to speak about something, if you have a different take, a similar take, it's your voice, your tone might be different, your facial expression might connect with somebody else. Um, and it's your obligation to say it, because I think that it's important that everybody gets a chance to just kind of speak about it. So yeah, initially I didn't think my voice mattered because there's only so many words in this world, and they've all been said. But over time, I started to realize that everyone has a slightly different take, and if a different variation of what I say can connect with someone, like one person, or someone just thinks about it, I did my job, and I feel very proud about that.
Beautiful. Well, as we get ready to kind of finalize our conversation today, I want to validate and really highlight that your voice does matter, and that through the messages that you shared here today, someone is going to be touched, someone is going to get woke, somebody is going to get moving, somebody is going to step out of inaction into maybe thinking about action, right? Maybe not ready for action, but thinking. And what we, I think, need to do throughout all of our communities is continue to encourage our communities of color, especially men, especially males, to talk about their feelings, to express the pain that they carry inside. No, we don't necessarily change the world, not initially through those words, right? But like Luke shared the words of Nelson Mandela, right? I suspect he was just speaking his truth that day. And yet that has stayed with Luke and is actually one of my own favorite quotes, right? Not to make your light smaller so that someone else can feel that they shine brighter. How powerful is that? So please know that today your voices count, that they are part of the change that's happening in the world, and it may be a slow change, but if we stay still, it's not going to be faster. So I'm glad that you're here in this movement, in this conversation. I'm immensely proud of and honored to be in this conversation with all of you. And to end on a lighter note, because we talked about such deep stuff. Like I think we're all going to need like a long nap after this, right? It's intense and it's real, and it needed a space. But there's also space for hope. So I'm going to leave us with, that question. If you could just tell us what gives you hope, what keeps you going, especially in times of change and challenges like we're facing right now. What gives you hope?
I would say, my personal journey, whenever, I'm getting down or, I'm thinking like, oh, maybe, I get a bad grade on the test or something that make me feel like, oh, maybe I'm not smart enough or something. You always got to relay back to where you come from. Because, I would like to consider myself lucky, especially on the journey from where I'm coming from, growing up, in Compton with the whole family situation the way it was. And to look, I'm at AU, which is a wonderful university. I'm about to graduate, so you got to look at, not too many people from Compton are at the place that I'm at right now, so you got to always be grateful and thankful that, no matter how you feeling, you've come a long way and all on the up. That's all you're going to keep going is up.
Yes. Congratulations to you, Roderick. So many accomplishments. I'm sure your loved ones are very proud of you.
Thank you.
What gives you hope? Shamar?
So for me, what gives me hope during especially times like this is that there's always possibility for change. Um, like I literally can't think of anything where there's something definitive. There's always possibility for change, even if it's small, it exists, and if it's small and it exists, it can happen. Um, so yeah, I keep that in mind. When I see something on the internet that really just boils my skin, I always think that there's possibility for change and that we can make it so that something like that doesn't happen again. It might not happen tomorrow, but collectively as a group, through our efforts, there's always possibility for change. And always think about that. That's my progressive way of looking. Because we have control over change. We could do that. So
Absolutely. And you embody that change, Shamar. You're in constant transformation and evolution. And it's just been an honor for me to see that from your teens to now. So I want to congratulate you as well.
Thank you.
Impressive. All right, let's go with Luke.
What gives me hope is that I'm not the same person that I was a couple years ago. Because you Hilda, you know my story. Shamar may know a little bit of the things I had to go through, and honestly, I felt like I pulled myself. I feel like at this point, I feel like I pulled myself out of hell. Excuse my language, but there were days when I literally got up and didn't want to get out of bed. I was scared to face the world. I pretty much went into every situation with no motivation to face those daily battles that I felt with my depression and with my anxiety. And nowadays, I get up, I feel like there was new life breathed into me, that I can literally create a new person of myself, that I'm literally still in the process of creating the new person that I am today. And the hope that this new generation gives me is that this didn't just become a trend. This didn't just become a 2-week news story, and that we're back to regular life. Like, we're still have our foot on the gas. We're still out here protesting. We're still out here urging everyone to say George Floyd's name, to say Breonna Taylor's name, to say Tony McDay's name, to say Ahmaud Arbery's name, everybody else's name that has been attacked by the police, and everyone's families who have been affected. And the fact that I'm part of a great network and a great brotherhood who still give me the motivation and desire to not only succeed but to go after my aspirations and my dreams that I still have in my mind today. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm not stopping. I'm not done yet. That's all I got to say.
Yes. Enough said. Yes. Thank you for that, Luke. I can't wait to see. I can't wait.
So when you say hope, Hilda, I think of multiple things. I get my hope from multiple things. But when you say hope, I think that I need hope for what the world is going through pertaining to Black Lives Matter. And I need hope for just my everyday trying to make it, trying to stay above water, wanting to have peaceful and loving life. So when it comes to that, my hope directly stems from my sister was gone way too soon. And I feel like every day that I live for her. Every experience that I have, every accomplishment that I have, she can put under her belt as well. You know, being able to graduate high school, going to prom, getting into college, graduating college, getting a great career, an amazing job, getting my first apartment, you know, paying all my utility bills by myself. Like all of those little things I do for her. I do so even though she physically can't, you know, say that she's done it, she was with me every step of the way. She was there everywhere I was. She was there with every accomplishment. She was that fire under my butt that made me go to work every day, go to school every day, get that degree, get that certificate. You know, she made me go to work. She like her presence gave me that push, you know. And another thing when it comes to everyday life, having the relationship that I have now with my parents compared to what I had when I was younger, I've always felt love from them every single day. I've always felt love, but I don't think I've always felt acceptance. I don't think I've always felt, you know, appreciated for like who I am genuinely. And now after having those talks with them and opening up with them and even hearing, you know, how they felt and what they thought about me growing up, because it's not just my struggle, it's their struggle as well, you know. So just to hear how they felt back then all those years ago, and just to have the relationship we have now, that gives me hope that like the world will always be better. You know, my kids will have an amazing experience, their kids will have an amazing experience. I feel like I broke a cycle in my family and in my household that you don't only have to be, you know, a part of the heterosexual community to be accepted in this Black family. You could be whoever and whatever you want to be to feel love and acceptance in this family. I feel like I broke that cycle.